So welcome to Scrapbook Live. I'm Megan Jacks. Today is Friday, October 4th, and we are going to be putting together a project that just came out in the past couple weeks on the Creative Memories blog. This collection or this layout originally used the Wonderful Day collection, and it's very, very striking. I had several people reach out to me about putting this one together. Hopefully you realize it's not too hard to put together. The technique is one you will definitely want to be able to carry over into other projects. It's just a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, it's a decent amount of cutting. We're going to cut out 20 squares. We're going to cut out 6 more squares and cut those on diagonals, but it's not hard. We want to take our time though when we do our placement. So if you have a 0 center ruler, you might want to have that available. You're definitely going to want to have your 13 by 13 mat available. Repo adhesive is going to be a must for this one, and a pair of scissors as well. So I'm going to switch over here to my overhead camera and we will go ahead and get started. So I decided I was going to use the Vintage Chic collection. And so I think I showed you in my preview on my Facebook page, the colors I was going to be using, which is pretty much all of the colors included. They have the berry color, aqua, the medium, it's kind of a mid-tone brown with the cream. And I will be bringing in the orange as well. So we have those kind of 5 core colors that are part of the Vintage Chic collection. For my base paper, you can see in the direction they suggest using they use black cardstock as the base for this. I'm actually going to come in with a piece of hot fudge. So I've got a piece of hot fudge cardstock. That's going to be my base. And now for some additional details in here, they use a sticker across the border at the bottom here. They have some a patterned paper at the bottom, and they have some additional sticker details in here. For where they show the sticker details, let me just real quick show you. Up here, you can see they have using a sticker out of the Wonderful Day collection. They have these really fun kind of architectural type confetti stickers, I guess, like little just decor pieces that you place all around. They use those in here. Vintage Chic has some embellishments that maybe would work for you. I thought that I would maybe use the square tile is a possibility, though I picked this paper to go at the bottom. So I'm not sure that these two patterns really complement each other that well. I'm not sure about that. So I also grabbed the mandala circle, or I can't remember what this punch was called. I grabbed this one as well. It's older. I mean, both of these are retired. I have square tile in my personal inventory. I do not have any of this one though. I also, because there is no border stickers per se with Vintage Chic, though you could come in, probably look through your stash and find borders that would work. I do have this one, Elegant diamond on standby. I think that's what I'm going to use, but I want to play with it a little bit. I'll get it mostly put together and then we'll see. I am thinking that this layout is going to be photos of my cat, of Kitty, because really anything that has orange in it works for Kitty, and my life in general is not necessarily as ornate and fanciful sometimes as something like Elegant, or excuse me, as Vintage Chic is, but this is going to work really great for photos of Kitty. I don't have the photos yet, but I will take them later. So to get started with this, as I mentioned, I need to have some brown, I need a base paper, and I'm going to be using the brown, or excuse me, hot fudge as my base piece. I am going to go ahead and use some Repo adhesive to stick this down on my cutting mat. That way, as I'm moving things around, I do not have to worry about this paper sliding around. I want it to stay in place. So when I start placing those 20 square pieces that we're going to cut, the things stay in place. So just use some Repo adhesive on the back of whatever your base paper is, and that way you'll be able to easily remove it later. I'm going to put this paper to the side. I don't need it quite yet. And the paper I am going to be using, they use kind of a lighter colored, light khaki colored paper. They call it the Stone Designer paper. You can see it's very light colored. And they cut 22 1/4 inch squares, and they place those in a row of 5 by 4 on this piece, on the background piece. So we will need to cut out 22 1/4 inch squares. And I'm going to go ahead and use a piece of one of the tonal papers out of the Vintage Chic tonal pack. It has the round circle dots on it. And I thought that would be easy enough for me to piece some more colorful stuff on top of it. So I'm kind of keeping with their general concept, using a lighter tone, very faded pattern as my 2 1/4 inch squares. And so I'm going to go ahead and get those cut. I don't have any of them cut yet. I did not do any pre-work, I guess you could say, for this layout. So I'll be cutting right along with you. If you guys are making it right now, please share what collection you're using, and maybe you're mixing and matching. This is going to be a great one if you want to cut out kind of a neutral base squares, and then you can mix and match what you do with these other squares that ultimately will cut into small triangles. But you can mix and match from whatever pattern. Those areas here are where we will be able to have a little bit more fun if you want to with your patterns. So I need 20 squares that are 2 1/4 inch by 2 1/4. So I'm going to cut one strip of paper at 2 1/4. I can get 5 out of each strip. So 2 1/4 inches wide. I'm going to go ahead and just cut all 5, excuse me, I need 4 strips that are cut 2 1/4 each. And I am going to have to change my gray cutting mat here on my trimmer. I can see I'm just starting to see a little bit of fray to my cuts. I'll finish this last one and then change it. So 2 1/4. And you may not be able to tell, but it's really, really faint, but I'm just starting to see a little bit of fray, like just not quite the crispness that I like to see on my cuts. And my cutting, see that line, my line number 3 there, it's starting to just get a little worn. That is kind of subjective to what you think is worn versus what somebody else thinks is worn. But once it gets to that point that you're like, what in the world? It's not your blade that is bad. You just need to turn your trimming mat. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to strip number 4, and I'll be able to have some nice crisp cuts. All right, so now I've got my 4 strips. I need to cut these all at 2 1/4 to get my 20 squares. You could probably stack your paper if you wanted to and cut 2 strips at a time. I just don't trust myself. I'd probably mess that up, and I'd really like these squares to be as consistent as possible. So there's one set of 5. 2 1/4. Probably should put a Post-it note out there reminding me of where to go so I don't cut any at 2 1/2 or 2. You guys all know sometimes I get talking and I don't pay attention. 2 1/4. All right. So Deborah said she's using spiced plum, and let me scroll up and see if anybody else commented what they're using. Spiced plum is gorgeous. And then, some comments about that Christmas collection. Yes, the new Christmas collection called Christmas Charm has beautiful traditional, what we think of Christmas colors with the reds and the greens. There's some gold in there that's going to be just a wonderful highlight. And then, of course, there are some fun tools. There's 3 new tools. There is a bow. It's a bow border punch. Maybe it has a different name. There's bow, there's a light bulb shape punch. It punches out the shape of a light bulb, like a Christmas light bulb. And then there is the linear plaid BMC. So some fun stuff to play with. I think that album is gorgeous. The red with the green Christmas tree. So pretty. Okay, there we go. I also want to highlight, as we're just cutting more paper here, the recipe, the recipe book project box. I'm excited about that one. I think what I'm going to do, my two older children have, they're in college. My oldest is living in an apartment. My middle child is currently suffering through dorm food, but they're going to have an apartment next year with a full kitchen. So they'll be able to cook more. And I'm getting more, questions about the recipes and everything. So I think I'm going to get 3 of those project boxes, the recipe book boxes, and I'll start to put together the booklets for the recipe books for each of the kids. Cody obviously doesn't need his for a while, but we'll get it started now. And that would be a fun project to start putting together. Okay, so I've got my 20 squares. Okay, so now the fun begins. We're gonna start putting those 20 squares on our layout here. And they're gonna come in and they're gonna be a little tight. You can see in the layout, they're gonna be, the interior grout lines are real narrow, real tight to each other, and we leave kind of a uniform, a slightly wider. It maybe is about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. I need to do the spacing first and see what we end up with. And looks like we're gonna be about 1/4 of an inch from top and sides, and then a real nice and snug interior line. So we have 5 pieces here. The first piece we're going to put is going to be this piece here at the top, or the middle piece. The pieces are 2 1/4. So if we find our 6-inch mark, we're going to be coming over 1 1/8 in either direction before we put this piece down. You're going to want to use some repo adhesive. And if you have your a T-square, I have one, here it is. You can use a T-square to help you get things lined up. And that's one of the reasons we took the time to go ahead and put our base page, use some repo adhesive on there to hold it in place, because now as I move things around, my background piece is not, all right? Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and use some repo adhesive on here. And there we go. So I'm starting at, if you come over, 0 is over here on the upper right side. I'm gonna come over to 7 1/8 inch. And that's where I'm gonna place, because that centers it. I have 1 1/8 to the right of the 6-inch mark and 1 1/8 to the left of the 6-inch mark. Now what I can do is I can actually come over here and I can place my outside pieces where I want them to go. I want them to be about 1/4 of an inch from the outside edge. I am going to leave my T-square. If you have a ruler, you can use a ruler. I am down about roughly 1 inch. You should be about 1 inch, let's see, 2.5 inches from the top. I need to maybe move this one down just a little bit. 2.5 inches from the top. Get you that 1/4 of an inch at the top spacing. Or there we go. That piece. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see if I can sneak that in. Yep, I'll be able to sneak that piece in and this piece in. All right. Put your outside pieces on first. You start with the middle, then go to the outside. And then we will go ahead and place the inside pieces here. Now I'm real narrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move my pieces outward just a little bit. So I'm a little shy of that 2 1/4. I want a little bit more of a gap. Once we get this first row in place, that's going to give us really set the pace for, or set the placing for the other pieces that we'll put in. Don't stress if it's not perfect. All right. If it's, I mean, there's little nuances here. When we start putting some of these other little small triangles in place, that will, draw your attention away from any little nuances. All right, there's the first one. Now we're going to come in and I'm actually going to rotate here sideways, put my T-square down at the bottom, and I'm going to come in, I think, and I'm going to put in my rows this direction. I'm going to come down 1, 2, and 3. I think I'll do that. I'm actually going to come down from the top so I can line this up right here. Placing these in, keeping a nice narrow grout line. And then just keep working, filling in your pieces. Takes a little bit of time. It's worth it though. And you could also scale this back if you didn't want to necessarily do the entire piece here. You could just do a section and leave the other spot a little more open. That is definitely a possibility as well. Now, if you already know which photos you're going to be using, you can kind of lay those on here and you might realize that you don't need to come in with a section here. If you look at the sample, you can see there's a little bit that's hidden behind those photos. So you don't necessarily need to put all 20 pieces in place if you know you're going to have photos covering a certain area. I am not 100% sure where my photos are going to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and create the entire background mosaic. And then I can, I've already cut my 20 pieces. I might as well go ahead and just put them all on. And just one more row after this, the last 4 pieces I need to place. I definitely can see that I've got some little lines, little grout lines that are not quite as even as others, and that's okay. This is one of those things when you're cutting by hand or even with your trimmer and you're cutting these sizes, it's almost impossible to have them all be exactly alike. And since we're doing this the way we're doing it, it can have a tendency to highlight the fact if you cut one at, a 16th of an inch bigger or even a 32nd of an inch bigger or smaller, you can kind of see those details. And this would be where if we had a 2¼ inch punch, it would be a little bit easier to get those exacting spacing. but we don't have a 2¼ inch punch that I'm aware of, and I didn't want to try to refit this using the 1¾ inch punch. So there we go. For the most part, it's all set. Next, we need to go ahead and we're going to cut. They want us to have at least 6 2-inch squares cut in a variety of paper scraps. So definitely, if you have scraps to choose from, use some scraps for those pieces. I will be cutting fresh off a 12 by 12 because I really haven't dived too much into vintage chic yet. But we can see where we're going to use these pieces, and we can kind of count them, the squares that we need. We know 1, 2, 3 squares, 3 whole squares that we see. We know that there's a 4th square right here. This one is half of a square. We've got another few other halves of squares. So basically you're gonna have, you need to start off with 3 or 6 squares. Be prepared if you are doing your entire background and you don't have your photos yet. If you're doing the entire background, you might need 7 or 8 squares. So I'm gonna go ahead, I am using this orange paper. And I actually have, it's the back side of this. So I'll start with this piece. I've got that one I'm going to use. I am going to use some of the tonal brown, the lighter brown. And then I'm going to use this blue, but the opposite side is the berry color. So that works out really well. It's a little more efficient. I had some extra sheets out here because I wanted to show off the colors when I was showing you guys. I took the picture, but I really don't need them because of the opposite sides. All right, so let me go ahead and grab my trimmer, and we need 6 2-inch squares. So I'm gonna cut these strips, at least 1 2-inch strip out of each paper. So there's 2 inches, and I'll go ahead and cut this into a square. All right, so I'm gonna cut one more. I like orange. We wanna make sure we have that orange in there. Now I need I'm gonna do 1 strip of this at 2 inches. That I should be able to cut, I will cut, let's see here, 2 blue, and then I'll have 2 in the berry color. And then I need the lighter, this tonal brown, just to have a little bit of that neutral color in there. I could do it all in these 3 colors if I wanted to, but I really want to bring in some of that tonal, the neutral color, the brown. So thanks you guys so much for joining in. If you joined late and you missed the first part, the recording will be available on the YouTube channel later. Okay, so once you've made your 2-inch squares, before you start cutting, one of the things that might be good for you to do is to go ahead and take them as full squares and lay them on the diagonal like such. And this, what you're doing here is you are getting an idea of how you want your patterns to go. And the reason I say that is because it is by far easier to move these big squares around than it is a ton of little triangles. And so you are seeing here how you want this to space out. And what I'm starting to think is that I need some more of the brown. I like the brown in that neutral. I want to space my colors well from each other. So if I think about maybe if I have do I have a pattern going? I've got 4 colors here. So if I have, I could just repeat my pattern. I could rotate my pattern. So if I flipped it and then these 2 would flip, or maybe I just keep, I don't know, do I want the pattern to be random? Do I want it to, then that would be in there. So you see what I mean about starting to see how you space your pattern. So these are 2 by 2 inch squares, these ones. We will ultimately cut them in half on the diagonal to make smaller triangles. But what I'm wanting to do right now is kind of get my spacing. So if I say, you know what, I like how this looks, what I can do is take these ones that are whole pieces, and I'm going to use scissors, and you're going to want to cut it on the diagonal. Now, if you don't want to use scissors, you can use your trimmer, especially the lovely new photo trimmer, and you can bring it over here and line this up. It's probably easier if I line it up where I have some contrast, and you can cut these on the diagonal. Just corner to corner. So now I have the 4 pieces, and then they just come in, and you ultimately will be adhering them in the corner. But as you can see, it is so much easier to work with the big triangles or the big squares and cut the smaller triangles once you figured out where you want them to go. All right, I know I'm gonna put this there, and I do not wanna mess around with these little triangles. So I'm gonna go ahead, because I will start losing them. And if I want to try to reassemble the square so that it's got that pattern to it, that you can see the pattern popping through, you certainly do not wanna get your pieces mixed up with each other. And they just get adhered in the corner. And that's how we're going to start to see the overall visual patterns popping through, or the visual appeal of this one is so fun. So there we go. We've got that first square in place. I'm going to go ahead and use scissors to cut my rest of these. I think that's, if you're not comfortable with the scissors, figure out how this goes back together. Oh my word. Should have paid a little more attention. That one goes like this. There we go. Okay, I got it. It's like putting a puzzle back together. There we go. And you just keep working your way all the way around. I don't know that I'm going to take the time right now to do all of these pieces. Well, let me see. Maybe it'll go a little faster if I'm just not as picky. I think what I'll do is, after I get these ones put on, I'm going to talk about how to do the center pieces, especially if you don't have, if you're using a collection that maybe doesn't quite have the stickers that work. So stickers that, collections that have the stickers that are kind of like what's included with Wonderful Day. Cue the Blue, I think, has some stickers or has some embellishments that have that kind of that detail, that mosaic detail that you'd be able to place in here. But I want to go ahead and I'm going to use, so I have, let's see what I have for scraps to be able to, I have a piece, this is orange shimmer, which I know looks pretty good with this. I am just playing now. So I'm going to use some of my solid scraps to get an idea maybe of color and of pattern. I don't know that I'm going to like mosaic, the square tile with this particular design, but I'm going to just punch it and just see what I think. I could come in like such up here. Maybe the orange doesn't look good on that one. Maybe it needs to come over on the blue. The other option, as I mentioned before, is coming in with the medallion, I guess. I don't remember what this one was specifically called. I don't have it labeled. Oh, I do. It is. It's called medallion. So there's some options. Now I am going to go ahead and I'm going to cut the piece that comes here at the bottom. I mentioned before I was going to use one of those multicolored designer papers. Just as an FYI, on Vintage Chic, the tonal paper pack has 2 sheets of each piece of paper in it. So if you like to have, 2-page layout with side-by-side prints that match, you'll be able to do it with the tonal pack. With the designer paper pack, you're gonna need 2 packs of paper. There are actually 24 different designs in the designer paper pack. So pick up 2 of those if you like to have, if I want this as my background piece on 2 pages, I need a second pack of paper. Now, never fear, if you didn't already get that, we're gonna have an ordering opportunity next week with the new Christmas collection and the birthday promo. So just go ahead, put it in your cart. You'll have it ready to go on Monday. I need to go ahead and trim this. This gets cut at, it's 2 inches tall by 11 5/8. This is what's noted in step 3. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this 2 inches tall by, and I'll have to trim off a little bit. So 2 inches. And then I've got to take this out to 11 5/8. I'm cutting off 3/8 of an inch, but I'm not going to try to, I'll just bring it out here to 11 5/8. So it's just past. There we go. And this comes down here at the bottom. Okay. So I either did not do this right or you actually need a bigger piece at the bottom because 2 inches did not work for me. Now I'm wondering, hold on 2 seconds, because I'm a little concerned. Maybe I cut off a number there that I didn't mean to. I'm going to check the blog. I'm checking that really fast. Maybe I cut a number there that I did not mean to. Sometimes when I'm editing it, the ampersands don't show up right, or the numbers. So they say, no, it says 11 by 2 inch. 2 inch is not going to be big enough. Here you are definitely going to want to go probably the 2 1/4. Well, okay, I take it back. If you're using a big sticker down here, you can make this work, all right? It sits at the bottom. You've got a gap here that you can fill in. So I'm not gonna worry about it right now because I do know that I need to punch a border, all right? So I can punch a border and leave it across here. And what I'm actually gonna do with this one, I think, is I'm gonna punch Elegant Diamond, and then I might come in and try to weave in a piece of paper or come across the middle of this with like a 1/4 inch piece. That will help cover up this so you won't even notice that situation. All right, I'm gonna keep moving along. I'm just gonna do a better job, I think, of cutting, staying organized with my cuts here. And I am literally eyeballing these triangles, so. Goes like this. Yeah. So if you have your paper in front of you, your handout, I would go ahead and I would probably change that in step 3. That measurement that they say definitely should be closer to 2 1/4. All right. 2 1/4 by 11 5/8. That way, if you have a border, it's not a big deal. You just cover up a bit of your paper. But if you don't have a border or you don't have a thick border, you've got room there. And that may have just been an oversight when they put the directions in. I'm going to put this berry piece in place and then maybe the orange. And then I'm going to move on and get the do the bottom part because this part is taking maybe a little bit more than I would normally like. Yeah, thanks you guys, it's Kathy, for chiming in. When you guys chime in and answer some of those questions, I try to keep track, but sometimes I miss the questions as they come in if they scroll up a little too fast or they zip by. There we go. Okay. And let me do, well, I have a feeling that one is going to be hidden. So what we'll be able to do is, I know I want orange over here. So I'm going to cut this, will go here. This one will come up here. Thanks. Where do I have? Should have another brown one. I don't know where it went. It ran away. So you just keep working your way through it. It's going to take a little bit of time to get these pieces in place. So it's not hard, it's just slightly tedious. This will be the last piece, I promise. And then I'll work on the other ones, and I'll come back in and get the rest of those little pieces in. It just takes that time. So Scrapbook Live, the email, I see you guys asking about that, or Janet is asking about it. It did go out yesterday afternoon Eastern time. I'm still, it was supposed to go out when I published the blog. The blog was published yesterday morning at like, I don't know, early Pacific time. I scheduled it to go out like at 6 a.m. Pacific time. But I had noticed that it did not, for some reason, send out the post like it was supposed to. So I had to force it out. And I think it went out, and I don't remember what time I did that. Maybe closer to 10:30 Pacific. So I'm still working on it, but hopefully you received it. If you did not, please check your spam folder. And just a quick note, one of the challenges is when sending something like this is that if you have an email provider that is a little more strict on their spam filters, these types of emails can get caught up in those spam filters. So that is something to keep in mind that will impact the situation. So, all right, I am probably going to play around with this a little bit more. I'm starting to see where I've got some potential issues on color scheme. I don't know. At the bottom here, I'm going to go ahead, tack this. Well, before I do anything, I'm just going to go ahead and dry fit. I do want to punch, I think I want to punch Elegant Diamond. I'm going to try it in the brown shimmer. I have this brown shimmer paper over here. I thought it would be fun. I don't want my border to be too, I don't know, too much. I want you to see it, but I don't want it to be too much. And I think the brown will be nice. If you haven't used Elegant Diamond yet, all right, what you're gonna need to do is you punch once, and then you slide over, and there's gonna be a triangle up here. This first triangle that pops out, you're gonna line it up with the first triangle that you see. So you're only lining up a portion. Like I can still see the blue here. I'm lining up that first designed area and punching. After this, you'll line up 2 vampire teeth. That's what I think of. They look like little vampire teeth, those triangles. You'll line up 2 and then punch. So if previous Scrapbook Live, for some reason, my blog decided to stop sending out the emails altogether. And between last week and this week, I have reestablished a subscribe button on my blog. So I have a new email list for the blog posts. So if you did not see that last week, so Janet, if you didn't see it last week and re-sign up, you may not, you're not on the list to get the new one, the new subscription list. Okay, so here we go. So that kind of works. I kind of like it's got a little bit of top and detail. You know, we're not maybe as ornate because we have that, we're losing some of that detail. The other option I have is, as I mentioned before, you've got some weaving options if you really like that. You see that bigger square there? If I want to come in and use my ruler and find out how wide that is, I could probably weave something through there. That is, oh, you want to be just shy of a 1/4 inch, it looks like. And let's see here. I'm going to grab, I want some orange shimmer paper. I like orange shimmer paper with this as compared to pumpkin with Vintage Chic. It's just my personal preference. I think it matches a little bit more of this orange tone in here, whereas the pumpkin is a little more intense. Has a little more red to it, I think, as compared to the orange shimmer paper. Just kind of use your preference. So I'm going to go ahead, as I mentioned, a 1/4 inch, just shy of a 1/4 inch piece. And we'll see how this waves in there. For those of you that are not receiving the blog, I'm going to go ahead and type in right now the link. So if you re-signed up for it and you did not receive it, I am not 100% sure what to tell you, just because we're starting to get into some nuances of different email providers. And so especially if you don't have a something like a Gmail address, I know some of you use an email different email providers, Gmail. So something to keep in mind. I'm really not able to test every single one to figure it out. So, but you can see this is weaving through pretty well. I am closer. I'm definitely shy. It's definitely not it's not a 1/4 inch. You're going to want to go probably like 3/16 of an inch. So a little more than an 1/8, but not quite a 1/4. You have to experiment a little bit. I think that's kind of fun. The other thing I want to do, I'm a little curious. This is just me playing. You're starting to play with your punches and layering. We've got a lot of layering capabilities in here, right? We've got, I mean, Elegant Diamond is very, lots of holes, right? I'm not going to weave any more through, but I am curious about bringing in a little bit of the berry color. So they do have the Berry Punch shimmer paper. We all love the shimmer paper. This is currently available. It is not a core product, meaning if you like it, make sure you pick up a pack or 2. It was available last year as part of a cardstock or shimmer paper buffet. But if you like it, you're going to want to go ahead and pick up another pack with your next order if you haven't already ordered it, because it's not a permanent. They will not be reordering it when it sells out. Okay, so what I want to do is I actually want to come in and I want to find out how much space is here. So let me see. Let me measure this. If I come in, I think about 3/4 of an inch. I think 3/4 of an inch is what I'm going for. I think I'm going to just pop a little more color behind it. That's really what I want. I've got that neutral, the brown neutral, and I'm going to come in and put this completely behind it. You see how that lines up? Yeah, I like it. It's a detailed way to show off the design, and it's going to cover everything up really nice. So look at that. And I brought, even though there's no berry color down here, I've got the berry color up here. So I know to bring this berry color in, I need to bring berry up here. And I might need to bring berry color over here somewhere. So I have to play around with that a little bit, but I like the direction this is going. So I'm going to go ahead, put some repo adhesive on the back of this elegant diamond, and then layer this piece in behind it. And you'll see really what I'm going for. That 3/4 of an inch gets me between these. I'm trying to fill in this kind of center gap. So about 1/4 of an inch on either side of my orange strip to fill that in. That was the goal. And 3/4 of an inch, it does it. It's not perfect. There is some dips in there that will be shown. You can maybe go just shy of 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, probably just shy of 3/4 of an inch. Now what I can do is I can go ahead and I can adhere this piece. I'm going to maintain that 1/4 inch at the top, at the bottom and the sides, because I've got that nice bold piece of border there to go across. And then this is going to sit in the space here to go across there. And then what I'll do is now that I kind of have that there, I can imagine now where more of my colors are going to go. So I know I need berry to come in. I want to put some berry up there at the top. I'm going to cut these into triangles, the big triangle for now. And where else do I maybe want? Maybe over here, I need some blue. I think I have this in the wrong spot. This is going to have to go up here. I don't want it there. No. Berry may technically be down here. That's probably what I'm going to do. I'm starting to see the pattern emerge where I have berry, blue, berry, blue, berry. And so I'll probably continue the same as orange, brown. There should be orange right here. I don't know that I'll need it because my pattern is not, you know, my photos may go there, but I can see then that I know I'm going to need a blue up at the top. Over here should be a blue. This should be orange. So you start to see the pattern emerge. And so I'll work on getting those pieces put on. It gives you the instructions on how you can cut some mats. I might come in with some brown shimmer mats, the larger where they show the brown cut out of, where they cut them out of. They use hot fudge and beige. I could probably use hot fudge and beige as well, just make the same that they want. If I wanted to jazz it up a little bit, I could probably come in with maybe using the decorative trimmer, or not like a decorative blade on my trimmer to cut those beige mats. It really just depends on what you want to do. If you're thinking, how can I use some more of my tools in there? That would be fun to do. The other thing you could have done too is if you wanted to, you could have cut your squares, the initial square with a decorative blade, and then use your scissors to cut, because you need those straight lines to go across. But just kind of playing around with it a little bit, and I will play with my decorative elements. I'm going to be honest with you, those might wait until I actually have my photos, because as I mentioned, I might use this for my cat. I'm thinking that's going to be, and how fun would it be to include the paw punch in here if I wanted to, or something else that is maybe pet, or little hearts or something like that, because I love Kitty so much. Though she was kind of bitey this morning. She was running after me around the house with biting my ankles, and I'm not 100% sure why. Well, I would say that she's thirsty. She had plenty of water available to her, but she gets kind of particular, and she wanted some ice cubes in one of her cups. So I gave her some ice cubes, and she seemed to stop with that bitey nonsense. So, all right, let me switch back over here to my face, And as I mentioned before, at the start of, or I think even before I started hitting record, at some point, next week is the launch week for Creative Memories. They had the preview come out today. It'll launch on Monday, the 7th at 10 a.m. Eastern, 1 p.m., or it's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. We've got the Christmas Charm collection. We've got, it has 3 new tools with it. You'll want to make sure you check those out. We have the recipe, the Baked with Love 2 recipe book project box, which looks really cool. And then there's also new happy albums available. The recipe book is the happy album size, so it's great. It's not too big to sit on your counter. And then we also have the new happy albums. And the promotion next week is birthday week. So it's Creative Memories. They're celebrating their birthday week. Their birthday's technically in November, but we start to get a little too close to Black Friday. So they're going to celebrate when you can actually enjoy it and have a nice promotion with it, which will be the project recipe book. So project recipes over the years that we have had, I haven't seen the book. There was a promo video, but I didn't have a chance to watch it. So it's going to have those project recipes in it. So if you have not put together a project recipe, they are some of the best sketches. Plenty of measurements, efficient use of paper if you so desire, but otherwise you use measurements to put it together however it works best for you. It is really a great tool. And then there's some birthday embellishments. So you have to, for the US, in the US, you spend $100 or more and you receive one of those bundles that has the booklet, the spiral bound book, plus the embellishments that kind of match. They coordinate really well with the birthday bonanza birthday collection that's available right now. So that's kind of what's going on there. Next week, next Friday, is the start of the October virtual crop. I would also anticipate sometime in this month, we should also see the secret box. I'm assuming, I don't know when. It will not be out probably for the birthday promotion. So if you do want the birthday promotion, you'll want to order that. Now, I want to just highlight, they'll probably order plenty of books, but if you really want this, I would not delay too long for ordering, because the books, the spiral books, are really, really popular. The idea books, very popular. All right, I did see a question, somebody asking that they received the Scrapbook Live email post and they wondered if there was another newsletter that came out. No. So the Scrapbook Live emails are, if you receive Creative Memories emails that are blog notifications saying, Creative Memories has posted a new blog post, check it out. That's what this email, this subscription, the link that I just posted for subscribe, that is what that is for. It should get you on the list. Now, for some reason, my email is not sending them, or my blog is not sending them out automatically, but I do have a way to force it through, and it appears to be getting to people. Now, if you have a web server or email provider that has a fairly tight filter, that can be a problem. So what I would recommend at that point is just bookmark my blog and just know that you're going to have to check it before Scrapbook Live. It may not come to your inbox. I don't have a lot of workarounds to push it through, other than just telling you, I'm sorry, you may have to just manually check the blog. So the CM blog, there is a spot on there, somewhere on that, you go to the CM blog, so creativememories.com/blog. There should be a link to be able to subscribe. You type in your email somewhere and hit subscribe. The other thing is, and then too, is I have a second email that I send out to people that are my customers, people who have signed up to receive more marketing emails from me. Those go out the Sunday, typically the Sunday before a launch. It depends on the nature of the launch. I didn't send one this last Sunday because it was kind of a smaller, just a few products with the pink stuff for breast cancer awareness. There will definitely be one coming out this Sunday. So those of you who receive those marketing emails from me, be looking for that. And then I do have one other customer email that goes out when I send out for Zoom crops, but those are kind of like private events for my customers, people who order from me through Creative Memories website. So Deb, I think as you're asking about the cost on the project, the recipe box, it's $62 US. It includes the album, some 12 by 12 paper, some embellishments. I believe there's recipe cards and some Happy Album page protectors, which are the slide in, you slide in 4x6, two 4x6s in there. It's going to be super cute. There is a digital component to it. If it's not included in that project box, but there is a digital component. So if you enjoy digital scrapbooking, or if you're like me and you hate your handwriting, and so you're thinking, oh, I would like to be able to type these recipes instead of handwriting every single one of them, you can get the digital one and you can create your recipe on the digital version of the recipe cards, print them off as 4x6, and they slide right in. So for me, I am going to be ordering 3 copies of this book, of these boxes, because I have 3 children and I want to make sure each one of my kids get that. Now, never fear. I enjoy a good handwritten recipe like everybody else, but I don't want to do all of them that way. So I will do some in typed handwritten, but I'm going to ask my mom, and I'm going to do some myself, and maybe other important people in our lives who have fixed recipes that my kids are used to, or we used to have at things. Like my aunt made a wonderful, she calls it the Christmas salad. It's Jello salad stuff. I made, so would you please handwrite 3 copies of this so my kids can have something from Aunt Linda that's handwritten in their book. The same thing for my mom, the same thing for myself. So maybe those special recipes I'm going to reserve for handwritten, but kind of just like, oh, this is mom's super quick, lazy weeknight. We just had 3 million baseball games in a row type thing. I'm going to do that. So Belinda Sue's talking about she can never get her recipes on a card. So I totally agree with you. I'm a little nervous about that. There's one thing to consider is you can use peekaboo pockets for recipes that are a little bit longer if you want to be able to say it flips over. The other thing too to remember is these recipes, you can have, there's 2 slots in there. So when you open it up, you'll have a spread, and you'll have a top and a bottom on each page, like a top of the page and the bottom of the page. There's 2 slots. So you can have a recipe that extends down if you need to. There can also be, if you turn the page over, you'd be able to see the back, or a second on the back side of a card if you needed to as well. So there are options. It'll be fun to play with. I'm hoping, and this is crossing my fingers, that Creative Memories realizes this is a product we haven't had for a while and they ordered accordingly. So if you love the product, definitely use it to help you get to that $100 for the birthday bundle. And I would order sooner than later. I always hate to make it sound like they're not going to have enough, but I really just don't know. I think we'll have enough birthday books, but if you really love it, I really hate to find out later, you know, like they're like, oh, I thought I had more time. And it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I hoped you'd had more time too. So just kind of things to keep in mind. So yes, this recipe album is going to have, you know, it's more traditional, or it's like slide in things. You can use regular Happy Album refills if you wanted to, but I think the slide in component is going to be nice. I know it's around food. We're messy. If you'd give it as a gift for somebody, maybe go ahead and give them one of those like easel things, small easel things. This is a really pretty cover, and you know, they can keep it on their counter, or when they open it up, they'll have a space that maybe they can keep it a little further distance. Though I am now turned into this person that I have to have my readers on. So I'd be like having to, look, really, I need the recipe book in big print now. All right, so Belinda, the new recipe box, the project box, is $62 US. And I see Thella is asking about a new Christmas punch. There are actually three new Christmas punches. There is a bow border punch, which has cute little bows that go in a row. And if you have not seen, you guys will have to go to my Facebook page and look at the previews, because the little borders that they designed as samples are so stinking cute. Like at first I was like, oh, bows, who cares? But they like do multicolor things with them, so adorable. And then they have a light bulb, think Christmas light bulb punch, which is going to be fun. If you get that punch, you are going to want to make sure you have shimmer paper on hand, and you're going to want to make sure you have the either gray or the platinum shimmer. Platinum shimmer is going to look more like the silver of the bulbs. Gray would do the same thing. The other thing too is if you think of, oh, it's inside, it's screwed into the little light sockets of the string, is maybe like dark green or Kelly green might work. Parakeet shimmer is going to look really nice as well. And then the Christmas bundle. The Christmas bundle is definitely probably going to earn you that the whatchamacallit here. I'm pulling it up right now. So if I press all the right buttons. I've got to find it. I have it. I know I do. Here it is. The Christmas bundle is pulling up is $100 even. So 100 plus tax is going to get you that Christmas bundle. It'll also get you the recipe or the, no, excuse me, the birthday bundle if you are in the US. Those are US dollars. So hopefully that all shows up. Now I got to go back and try to find, where am I? Oh dear. I lost my, there it is, my live, my Facebook Live. Oh, thank you, Heather, for chiming in. I have too many screens open. It's kind of like my mind where I have all those different tabs open. I'm like, where did it go? Okay, I think that's all I have for you guys. Just a reminder, Power Hour is on the 15th. So we normally, I mean, next week is the 8th, which is technically the second Tuesday, but I'm out of town. We have fall break next week. I'm going to San Diego. Oh, thank goodness for some cooler weather. And, but I should be back. I'm planning to do Scrapbook Live next week. So that's the plan. Now, if I come back from San Diego, like totally disorganized as a hot mess, please forgive me if I need to not do it, but I'm planning to do it. That's the goal. And there are, yes, you do get some shimmer, free shimmer pen with the, if you do the buy it all bundle, there's a green shimmer pen, which they have shown as one of the example things that we got was, or we saw was they used that green shimmer pen that's part of the Christmas cheer bundle, the buy it all bundle that you get for free. They used it on the edge of, I think some of the embellishments, like these Christmas tree embellishments. It was really pretty. It also, I think, will look really good layered on top of the dark green cardstock. It's just going to give that little shimmer highlight, which will be really, really pretty. So fun ways to use that shimmer pen. And if you're a collector of all the stuff, you're going to want to get the green shimmer pen. So very fun there. All right. Everybody, take care. Have an enjoyable weekend. Hopefully involve some scrapbooking or something else that's making memories that you can scrapbook later. I am, I don't know, this weekend is the weekend to get ready to go out of town. And I think hopefully put out some Halloween decorations. It's been really warm here and I have not really been super wanting to go out and do that stuff. The other thing, I have rocks in my front yard. I have a typical Arizona, Phoenix front yard. It's desert landscaping. I've got some nice trees, but we have rocks. Very, very hard dirt. So I have the tombstones that are fun to put in the ground, but they're almost impossible to put in the ground here. You have to use a drill and like drill out a hole to put these things in. So I got to work with my husband to try to figure out how we're going to put these things in. They were easy to do in Washington. The ground is so wet there that you just like sinks right in with this little like wiry spindle things. Here, I'm not sure. I got to figure it out. So we'll see. We want to get the decor up. It's fun. We look forward to we live in a cul-de-sac. There's like tons of kids who come through our neighborhood, at least what I've been told. So very excited for Halloween to be coming out. All right. Take care, everybody. I will see you all soon.